All right. So we got my man Jay2Funny in the building.
Thank
What's
you,
up,
thank
man?
you.
Well, actually, I'm in your spot, man. Pulled up on you, bro. So I appreciate you letting me come up here, man. Appreciate you doing the interview, bro. Been trying to do this for a little minute, but we finally here.
Yeah,
Finally here.
it be like that, man. No problem, man. Thanks for having me, man. Every time I turn around, I saw some of my friends on there. I said, damn, man, they on a great place, man.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
trying to get there.
I appreciate it, man. So like just getting started, man. Let's talk about your background, like where you from, like what was your upbringing like, and kind of like what got you into your start in the comedy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm from the area, you know what I'm saying? I spent most of my time in Maryland, PG County, uh, Capitol Heights. From Capitol Heights, moved to Forestville. I was out there pretty much until I went to the military. So, dealt with a bunch of shit in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I, when I was at the age where I could join the military, it's like, all right, uh, it wasn't really a thing that I wanted to do, you feel me? But like once I had a child, I said I gotta make some changes, you feel me? So I went to the military, went through the shit that I went in while I was in the military, and a lot of that stuff that happened in life ended up pushing me to doing comedy when I got out of the military, and some other tragedies and traumatic situations happened in life. So one of the ways that I was able to overcome those situations and keep a level of sanity was to use comedy. You feel me? And comedy just took off from there. So
What was your time like in the military? Like, what was the
I was
experience
in for
like?
9 years, and I was discharged, honorably, of course, you know what I'm saying, medically with the injury. I got injured, so that pretty much ended my military career. But it opened up some doors for some other things, you know what I'm saying? So like an internship as soon as I got out of the military, I was working for the government. I was with the government for like 10 years. And then I just, started to feel like I said, I'm not really being me. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a top secret clearance and all that shit. So it's like I wasn't really being myself. You know what I'm saying? It felt like I was being somebody else. And it's like, that's not really me. So I made a change and got the hell up out of there, you know what I'm saying? And that's what really, really pushed the comedy stuff. I had a little bit of time since I had took off, you know what I'm saying, and completely left. And I just started putting videos together, and now we're here.
Do you feel like your time in the military helped you like in life in any way?
Oh man, listen, bro. And a lot of people got comments about the military. I'm gonna tell you this, like, it really changed my life. It changed the trajectory. It changed the trajectory of my life. You know what I'm saying? Because I always knew right from wrong type shit, but I lacked the discipline. You feel me? So, you know, discipline and learning to move tactically. In all aspects of life. You feel me? So it changed me in a major way, you know what I'm saying? And it helped me to get out of the area. And you realize and understand, like, we come up different here in this area. I don't give a fuck if you're from Maryland, D.C., Virginia, what part, you know what I'm saying? But we different here, especially in the immediate, DMV area, you know what I'm saying, what we all consider to be DMV area. We come up here different, you feel me? Like, somebody can say the wrong thing to you or what you think is the wrong way, you immediately want to snap type shit. You feel me? Because that's what you're used to. So you think that that's how everybody is being. But when you leave the area and you realize, like, damn, everybody's not like that. You feel me? Then you just start to put two and two together and understand, like, we came up in that area, so that's what we know. So it helped me in a major way, bro, to be able to get outside of the area, be working with different people, you know what I'm saying, from different backgrounds. It just taught me a whole hell of a lot, bro. So one of the best decisions I ever made.
So when you were like honorably discharged, did you kind of like, was it kind of a sense of I don't know what I'm gonna do now, basically?
Yeah. So when I found out that I was gonna be getting out, I was like, damn, I didn't plan that much further, ahead for my life. You feel me? So I was just like, damn, I'm about to get out. I don't know what to do. But they got this program in the military called the Wounded Warrior Project. So because I got injured during our Operation Iraqi Freedom, enduring freedom, I was considered a wounded warrior. So they had different programs for wounded warriors and, like different opportunities for you to transition from your military life back to civilian life or whatnot. So I got an internship for the Department of the Navy, and that's what opened the door for me being in the government. The day that I was discharged from the Navy, I was picked up full time by the government. So, I mean, my my road to where I ended up at after the military was, it was nothing but a blessing, man. Nothing but a blessing.
So after you got discharged, when did the transition into comedy start?
Shit. All right, so I got out the military in like 2010. And the comedy journey didn't start till like 10 years after that. You feel me? But it was like I lost my best friend. When I first got out the military, you know, I lost my best friend. You know, he died from a sickness or whatever, like a flu, and it led to like pneumonia and then like a kidney failure. You feel me? So like that was major right there. You feel me? Like anybody that's ever lost a best friend, you know, I really feel for them because you know when you lose your best friend, you lose a part of you because it's a bunch of shit that we did that I don't even be remembering. You know what I'm saying? So you know how sometimes you'll be with somebody and they'll be like, oh man, you remember this, you remember that. So when you lose a best friend, it's like damn. You know what I'm saying? So that shit hit me hard. My daughter, you know, I ended up having a daughter, you know, and her mother was tragically, you know, killed or whatnot. So that was a whole nother situation, you feel me? That opened the door to like a 7-year custody case, man, like back and forth with her family type shit. After that, my mother got sick, you know, COVID peeked his head around. I started going through shit with my government job, you feel me? And that was, at that point, I said, you know what, I can't keep taking all of this shit, you feel me? So I opened the door to the comedy world, man. I started seeing people do skits, because I used to be big into like the car games and all that type of shit, racing cars and stuff like that. But like once I continued dealing with all this bullshit, I said, you know, I need to make changes somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Because just how I was living, just, it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? It may have felt all right, but when I took a look at all the shit that was happening in my life, I said, bro, you gotta get better. You feel me? And I just started doing shit differently, living differently, becoming a better person. You feel me? And comedy was something that I came across on that journey. I've always loved to laugh. People always said you're funny, and all comedians gonna tell you that. Comedians gonna, well, you know, I've always been funny, but you feel me? I just said, you know, I'm not gonna just keep saying it. I'm gonna actually do something. You feel me? And that's when I started doing the skits and shit. And never was even interested in doing stand-up comedy at first, but after doing the skits and everything, I said, you know what, like, meeting more stand-up comedians and see what they're doing and having a respect for the types of things that they were doing, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot.
When you first when you first were doing your skits, were you all like nervous putting them out? Because you know this is something you never actually like done before. You seeing all the other content creators doing it. Like was it something you was just like, you know, hesitant about doing, or were you just like, I'm gonna just put these out and not really care what the response is?
I didn't really care what the response was, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, I mean, when you're dealing with life, you know, I don't want to just say this and like, okay, let me slow down. So when you're dealing with life, man, you have to be able to be like, fuck it sometimes. You feel me? So I said, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And if people fuck with it, cool. If they don't, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about it. I did it for me. It was something that I wanted to do. I felt as though it was something that I needed to do. So I didn't really care about how anybody felt about it. I told my good friends, I say, hey, look, I'm about to take on this new journey. You know what I'm saying? Let them know what I was trying to do and like, hey, if you with me, cool. If not, no problem. But I'm doing it.
What was the response or the reaction like to your early content, like when you first started putting out skits?
So surprisingly, like it was cool. Like the things were good. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I like to study before I really get into anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to know like what's going on because I don't want to just jump in and be a failure type shit. You know what I'm saying? I said I don't care, but I want to be able to be successful doing it. You feel me? So I look at the types of things that I look for when I see people's content and things like that. And I say, all right, as long as I make sure I'm hitting all angles when it comes to what it is I'm trying to put out there, then I mean, I can't worry about anything else. So the responses that I was getting to the content that I was putting out there it was cool and it wasn't expected. People are, oh man, you funny as hell, man. Where this dude come from type shit. So it was just, it was surprising, yeah, but at the end of the day, I felt as though it was something that I was capable of, which is why I went ahead and pushed through and started doing it.
What was that an early, you know, initial type of validation like when you was getting, you know, love and responses from people, you know, when you was first putting out your skits? What did that do for you?
It helped me to be able to create more. It helped me to be able to create more, and the more you do it, the more you start to see like your followers, what they like, the type of things that may be too edgy, you know what I'm saying? But it's like at the end of the day, I want to do some edgy shit. So you got to do it with regards to how some of your followers may feel, when it comes to stuff like that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they matter because they help us to continue putting out content. You know what I'm saying? They sharing stuff. They're engaging with you. So I mean, all that stuff is cool.
So, who were like some of your biggest comedic influences like growing up?
So I mean, I love the older guys, man, like Richard Pryor, Bernie Mac. I'm gonna say even Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle's like 50 something, I think, right? Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Joe Torre, anybody that was on Comic View. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that was on Def Comedy Jam. Like I just enjoyed comedy. I enjoyed the rawness to it. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But I just enjoy everything about it. What I really like is how you can take something that's extremely serious and then turn around and you're able to make it funny. You know what I'm saying? So people may be experiencing some wild shit and you find a way to put it, and that same person that's experiencing that crazy shit is able to laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's amazing.
How hard is it to do something like that? Because I mean, that's not easy. Taking something that you're not technically supposed to laugh at, whether whatever type of situation it is, and making it into part of your comedy, like making people laugh at a bad situation. How hard is that to do?
Um, I guess it just depends on the situation and the person. For me, some of those thoughts are like immediate, and I could hear something, and like somebody could be telling me a serious ass story, and then I'm like, trying to keep my laugh in and shit because my mind immediately took what they were telling me and ran somewhere else with it. You feel me? So I think people need to understand that it's just about the person and it's about the situation, but I don't have to go like too in depth where it's like, all right, well, let me try to take this situation and make it funny. If it just so happens to be funny, then the shit's just funny. At that moment, it may be easy. But if I'm trying to sit there and develop a situation or create a situation or something, I think that may be harder because I that's just not something that I do. I'm not gonna say how can I take this and make it funny.
Who do you feel like shaped, or you talked about the people who inspired you? Who do you feel like helped shape your comedy style, or like who did you like take pieces of comedy styles from?
Like as far as like stand up or like doing skits and stuff.
Both.
So I would say like the primary person is Dave Chappelle. Okay. Dave Chappelle, man, and the the way that he's able to take these serious topics that are going on in society, you feel me, and transfer that to put it in a skit form. You know what I'm saying? Which he did a lot of that with the Chappelle show. You know what I'm saying? He'll take a lot of these, conversations that are controversial, and he'll take those things and he'll come out and talk about those things on stage. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of the response that he gets from anybody, he's getting these issues out there. He's being able to put his message out there. So I think that's super dope, and that's how I want to consider myself. Not Dave Chappelle. I don't want to be Dave Chappelle, but I'm influenced by how he's able to touch people with his comedy.
So when you were doing your skits, when did you decide to start doing stand-up comedy?
About 2 years later, about 2 years after I had started doing skits or whatnot, a couple people kept asking me, yeah, man, when you gonna come out and do these shows? When you gonna do these shows? I'm like, man, I don't know, because it ain't really been my thing. I just never like had a dream to do that, but my boy told me my custody case was about to be over. Like I said, it was a 7-year thing. I said, man, I got a bunch of shit to talk about. And I never done karaoke because I don't like being in front of people with mics for real at the end of the day. I mean, now with the comedy shit, it's totally different because I may be right there nervous. I'm like, damn, man. Then when it's my time, I get that mic, all that shit's out the window. It's time to work. You feel me? I'm just weird when it comes to that. But yeah, it took me about 2 years after I started doing skits to actually get on stage, man. One of the scariest things I could do, in my opinion.
What was it like being on stage for the first time, and how did you feel after you had finished?
Oh my first time on stage, bruh, like everybody, so many people that knew me before this comedy journey, man, they were looking forward to me being on the stage, man. So I had a lot of people that were there. And some of my closest friends, I was like, man, look, I'm scared. I can't do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was just nervous for no reason. But as you remember earlier, I said, you know, I don't give a fuck. Sometimes you don't give a fuck. But I cared so much about my performance. I cared about wanting to be good for the people that came out to see me that it made me nervous. But that's also a good thing because I played football my whole life. And if you don't have that nervousness, then you know what I'm saying, do you really even care about how you're doing? Right. You know, so yeah, man, it was real scary. But once I started, I had a heckler. My first comedy show, bro, had a heckler, and I didn't know how to address the situation. I was reverted back to the me before doing comedy. You know, a lot of people from this area be bidding. You know what I'm saying? We be talking shit. When I was growing up, you called it joning. You know what I'm saying? So I immediately went to that and I fired her ass up for like the entire 10-minute set, bro. Everybody in there was dying laughing, bro. I felt as though it was great. I said, damn, you know, I did it. But then some of the comedy veterans, you know what I'm saying, was like, man, that's not really comedy for real. You know what I'm saying? People actually came there to see a comedy show. And you were right, I'm body shaming, I'm talking shit, I'm doing all this, you feel me? Because that's what I thought comedy was. So that opened my eyes to the bigger picture. Like comedy is more than just being able to talk shit to and about people. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big eye opener for me. But yeah, that's overall how my first show went.
What do you feel like is the difference between doing skits and doing stand up?
Doing stand up, it's lights, camera, action, baby. Once they call you out there on that stage, that's it. It's no do-overs. It's no repeats. If you forget your shit, you better remember something. You better remember something. But when it comes to skits, it's not you don't have to. All you have to do is put a finished product out there, and that's what they're not going to look at the process that you went through to get it done. They're not going to look at all of the mistakes that you may have made while trying to get the skit done. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like social media. You people see what you show them. You know what I'm saying? So if you're always showing this finished, edited product that's amazing, they're not gonna know what goes into that. So I mean, skits and everything is cool, but stand up that's a whole different animal right there because you are live. Yeah.
So speaking of stand up, you know, you part of the Let 'Em Cook tour, and we got something to say. Comedy Gent. What has that experience been like?
Oh man, that was dope, man. Shout out to hilarious Omar Terrell and Manny the God, man. They got that tour going on, man, and they asked me to host it in Arlington, Virginia, Arlington Draft House on April 10th, man, and it was a hell of a show, man. We had a great time, man, and they've been in the game for a minute. You know, hilarious Omar's been around for a while, and you know, when people that have been doing it for a while, you know, when they want to work with you, man, that's to me that's tight. That's tight.
How do you like prepare for be going on stage?
So I first have to decide what I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the event. Some people have a routine that they take everywhere. I have one of those, but at the same time, it just depends on whether I'm hosting or whether I have a set. If I'm hosting, then I'm going to talk about a lot of current things that are going on. You know what I'm saying? Things that people can relate to, try to help people get warmed up and get ready to enjoy your show. Now, if I got a set, it just depends on how I'm feeling, bro. But I'll pretty much have an outline of the types of things that I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And then as I get closer to the show, you know what I'm saying, I start putting them in order and adding to it or taking from it. You know what I'm saying? And then I just start timing myself as I'm trying to get through my routine. But that doesn't always work because sometimes you may enter a room or you're doing this show and the crowd may not be one of those crowds where it's like everything's gonna work. Because sometimes you'll go somewhere and you'll kill the show, but you'll have another show that same night or something, and this crowd is totally different. So you have to know or have to have other things to be able to, interchange and remove and talk about something else or go to this direction now instead of this way. So, I mean, it's a lot. A lot of people think it's just super easy, but it's not easy at all.
What do you talked earlier about, the situation with the heckler. Have you ever had like a really bad crowd?
Bad crowd, as in like.
Like they weren't like receptive to your jokes, or
Oh,
they would.
okay. So I will say that. I will say yes, but I'm not gonna say they were a bad crowd. Maybe I was being a bad comedian. You feel me? So I'm not gonna put it all on the crowd, because if the crowd is there to laugh, if you're funny, they're gonna laugh. It just may have not been the best night for that joke, or these round of jokes. You know what I'm saying? I've been on a stage before for like 4 minutes, and the crowd, it was like an open mic night. You know what I'm saying? So for open mics, some people there for the comedy show, and some people not. Some people there celebrating with their friends. Some people over here at the bars being loud. You know what I'm saying? So everybody doesn't respect the show. And I was at the very beginning, so to me, I was like, damn, man, they ain't really fucking with me. You know, so I got in my head a little bit. Next thing you know, I ended my set. I was like, all right, man, thank y'all for y'all time. I got off the stage. I was only up there for like 4 minutes. So I allowed, that anxiousness within me, to take over. And it's like, yeah, no, you can't do that. Get out there and do what you got to do. If they're not fucking with it, find something else.
Is it somewhat deflating when you deal with that? Like a crowd not really vibing with the comedy that you're doing?
When I first started, I thought that it was like that. Yeah, when I first started, you know what I'm saying? But then one of the things that all of these comedians will tell you is like, look, man, like you're gonna fall on your face at some point in time. You know what I'm saying? They've all talked about stories where it's happened to them or with them, and I'm no different. You know what I'm saying? But you learn from those things, and that's where you separate, good comedians from the bad ones. Is this something that you want to do? Do what you got to do to get better at this shit, or stop doing it. So.
So as far as the DMV goes, like you got people like Pre and Davey, Goofies, Andy, Coach Steve, all of them. Like, how do you feel like the DMV's comedy scene is right now?
I think the DMV comedy scene is cool. It's a lot of people doing their thing, but ultimately, I think the DMV comedy scene could be one that took over everywhere if everybody just worked together. If everybody, not saying that a lot of people aren't working together, but I believe we could have a comedy network that's like the comedy network in some of these other places, man. You look, like you see Skinbone in them, you see a lot of people down in Atlanta that are working together, people on the West Coast working together. But here, it's like, all right, it's just like with the rap game and shit, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody talk about people not getting together and working together, but we can control that. We can control that. So
Why do you feel like it's like that? As far as like people kind of like not really working together all that much, even though there are people that collab with each other. But
yeah.
like, why do you feel like the DMV comedy scene hasn't gotten to that Atlanta status?
Ah, shit, man. If I had the answer, I'd be able to fix it. But what I can try to maybe egos, maybe some people think that they can do everything on their own, which you can. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, especially doing comedy. You don't have to be cool with this comedian to excel your comedy career. You know what I'm saying? However, if you were to get together, you open more people's eyes. You know what I'm saying? People see that you have a movement. People see that this is a team. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people have ulterior motives. Does everybody even want to be a part of a team? Does everybody know what a team is? You feel me? So, I mean, I just think it's a lot of different things. Part of the reason, it's the area. It's how we came up. We spoke on that earlier. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, people will fuck you over or backdoor you or betray you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to experience any types of thing like that. So I think it's a bunch of shit that contributes to that.
Or how open and willing are you? Because you've obviously collaborated with other comedians, but like how are you as far as like comedians reaching out to you trying to collab or do something with you? Like, is there like you like kind of vet who you would and wouldn't want to work with, or is it kind of just you pretty much open to anything?
I mean, if anybody's doing anything or trying to do something, I'm pretty much with it, bro. Because like I said, I'm big on that, working together type shit. Because I mean, you never know who you may open the door for. You never know who may open the door for you. But working together, you get more eyes on everybody. Period. You feel me? So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. And I've worked with people that haven't even had a lot of work before. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to you have to be able to know how to observe people. You know what I'm saying? Like some people don't have the right intentions from the beginning, but you know, it's enough people out here that I ask questions. It's, hey, you worked with so and so before, this and that, this and that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we go from there. But I make my own decision based on me and how I'm feeling with that person.
So, we talked a little bit earlier, but you work with, Omar Terrell and, Ivy Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
Like how did that collaboration come about?
So I was on a podcast out Be More Pod or whatnot, and you know Omar was out there I think like a week or two before I was out there, and I was telling Ivy, you know, I said yeah, you know, I said yeah, I ain't never met Omar before, you know what I'm saying? I said I be seeing his videos and shit, and I know he funny, and I know he got experience in the comedy game, so I mentioned it to her, and like the next week she had put something together, and we had already we linked up and started shooting. So and that just turned into like a every other week type thing. Now they on tour, so it slowed down a little bit, but we're gonna get back to it soon. But yeah, that's how that started. A lot of these connections and collaborations, they stem from just a simple conversation. And I think that's important. Any room that you go into, you should be able to talk to anybody because you never know.
When you all are collaborating, what is that process like as far as like coming up with different ideas or, things that y'all want to do?
So usually, you know, somebody will have the main idea, and if anybody wants to add anything to it, you know, we'll do it that way, or you know, it'll just be you know an outline of what it is, and then we'll freestyle through whatever it is that we're doing. And sometimes that's when you come across some of the funniest shit randomly.
What do you feel like makes you all's chemistry, so good?
So I think we're both secure. I think we're all secure. Everybody that I've worked with, honestly, you know what I'm saying? I think we're all secure with who we are and what we bring to the table. And that's what allows, you know, these collaborations to be pulled off the way that we're able to pull them off. So,
Outside of, those two, like who are some of the other comedians that you collaborated with?
oh man, Goofy, that's my guy right there. Lawrence Owens, man. G Dot, Spinning Like I Printed, DJ Got Jokes, Mr. Almighty Waffle, man. Be Anonymous, Miss Sin. Bro, it's like, I honestly hate naming names because you're always gonna leave somebody out, you know what I'm saying? APAP, I worked with APAP on a movie before, that was dope. Like, you know, I done worked with some people, man.
So, out of like all the skits you've done, what's been your favorite ones?
My favorite skits. My favorite skits are My favorite skits are the ones that I create from the ground up. So like I recently, matter of fact, I recently did one about deadbeat dads coming back. You know, after they found out their son making it to the NFL, and at the moment, that's one of my favorite. You know what I'm saying? Because it opens your eyes to some bigger shit that's out there. You feel me? Deadbeat dads are a real thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just dads, okay? And it's not just black people. You feel me? But when you do a skit like that, you know, it, it, it makes a lot of people say shit. You know what I'm saying? Some people is like, oh yeah, that's wrong. So you're just painting that picture on black people. Yeah. Well, what's your issue for thinking that only black people are deadbeat dads? Right. You know what I'm saying? Deadbeat dads are in every race, every ethnicity. You feel me? It's a problem. Instead of being mad at the person that's depicting this in this way, be mad at the people that are actually out here being those deadbeats and shit. You feel me? So I like things like that, man. Things that are gonna actually make people talk without being all crazy and shit. Like I don't want to do no crazy shit. I don't want to run around in a cafeteria with my nuts out and think it's funny type shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about that type of comedy.
So, kind of talked a little bit about it earlier, but like in comedy, you always gonna offend somebody, even if you ain't trying to. Like, have you ever been in like hot water with anything you've done, like skit wise, or whether it's something you said in your stand up, or you just offended somebody in the wrong way?
I mean, that's just been me my entire life. Somebody's always offended, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, when somebody has a serious situation going on and then I'm able to take it and laugh at it, that's offensive right there. Yeah. I understand that as a comedian, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also a man, so if I offend you in any way, I'll let you know, like, look, man, nothing personal, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just what it is. I'm a realist when it comes to everything. And the fact of the matter is some shit needs to be said, and some people are gonna be offended, but that's for you to deal with. That's for you to deal with. I'm not coming at you disrespectfully in a fucked up way, you know what I'm saying? But if I feel this way about a situation, I have reasons for feeling like that. So allow me to be able to have my opinion. It may be fact to me, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it happens. It happens quite often.
Do you ever like you just get any type of like qualms or nerves about the cancel culture?
Nah.
Why
Nah.
not?
I mean, I'm secure. I'm secure with who I am. If social media went away tomorrow, I would still be me. I still have a solid name out here. People fuck with me. People know me from my past. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the internet doesn't make me who I am because that shit will never go to my head either. You know what I'm saying? So
So you never worried about somebody like taking something that you said and trying to like get you canceled for anything?
nah. And I say a lot of shit. I say a lot of shit. I've said some inappropriate shit too. I'm sure shit'll start coming out somewhere, some point in time. You know what I'm saying? I've done past interviews with people. You know what I'm saying? Pretty sure somebody might post some clips of things like that. I mean, I really don't care at the end of the day. If this is how I feel, it's okay. I should be able to express how I feel when it comes to something. You know?
Do you miss how like back in the days comedy used to be like very like raw and unfiltered?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like why? Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So why do you feel like it's gotten so sensitive nowadays?
There's too many bitch ass people out here, man. It's it's like people love to talk about shit. People love to run their mouth and comment and say something about everything, but the moment you say something back to them, they can't take it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. If you don't want nobody to say anything to you, shut the hell up. You feel me? I talk. So I really don't give a damn when it comes to anything at the end of the day. If it's not affecting my family or my finances, I'm really not too worried about it.
So like, you know, for example, like you saw the like the Tom Brady roast, right?
I saw some of it. Kevin Hart was in that? Was Kevin Hart in
Yeah.
that? Yeah, Kevin Hart tore his ass up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
all right,
like
bet.
a lot of the jokes, you know, people was making, a lot of people was saying like, oh, it reminds them of like the good old days in comedy where like people was saying whatever and it wasn't, you know, people weren't getting sensitive.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in a way comedy can get back to that point, or do you feel like it's pretty much gone? Like everybody is too sensitive now, and ain't no going back.
I mean, that's where I plan on taking it. That's where I plan on taking it. So if you're too sensitive for it, you might not want to come see me at a show. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. It's not for everybody, but the same way that we can sit here and talk about how we miss that type of comedy, other people miss it. So when they reintroduced to it, they'll be there. You know what I'm saying? So I want to find people like that. Those are the people that I want to be able to come out and check me out and say, man, now that's comedy right there. Yeah. To me, that's major. When somebody comes up under one of my posts or is at a show, and after the show, they say, man, like that's real comedy right there. To me, that shit's amazing.
When you like some people have referred to comedians as people who like say what the everyday man wants to say, but is too scared to say because of those fears of getting canceled. Do you feel like that's a responsibility that you have as a comedian?
Yeah, I do. I do, because so many people want to say it. Like you said, so many people want to say it. And then I even lost myself a little bit, you know what I'm saying, when it came to stuff like that, because I wasn't, I felt I was trying to filter myself too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, well, you can be you without applying that type of filter to yourself, because this is you. You know, this is why people always say you're funny, because you've always been able to be you. So be you.
Aside from comedy, you know, you've also, you know, done acting as well. You know, shout out to World War Polo. You was in the New Balance Boys and the Fight Before Christmas. What is it like? Well, first of all, how did you get those roles to begin with that you was in?
Skits, man. Skits, you know, a lot of people say those little skits. You feel me? People say, oh, you be doing those little skits. Yeah, they little until they become big. You know what I'm saying? And that shit has opened the door for acting roles and things of that nature. And that's how the shit got started. You know, Polo came across me from one of the Uber skits that I was doing. And then, you know, this is around the time, you know, with Kings of DC, you know, was really out there. You know, I made a skit for the Kings of DC for a promo, you know, and it just it just created a relationship between us. So these casting calls, I'm making sure I get there anytime, anything that, like I said, anything that anybody is doing in the area, and like we can bring that spotlight and that attention to our area. I'm with that shit. We all deserve it here because of the type of shit that we've gone through, the type of shit that we're still continuing to go through. You know what I'm saying? Why not link and make it better for everybody?
You got like something kind of coming out that's like a film inspired by the events of the Gorilla Glue Girl, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. What
yeah.
if you can like talk about like what's that about?
So that is a movie that was written and produced by like Alvin Gray. I believe it's 910 Productions or 910 Studios. Excuse me if I'm wrong on the exact same, but he hit me up. I have a role in that. That was uh, created by Lene Gray. You know what I'm saying? She hit me up and asked me if I had some time. So I shot out there because I know Alvin be doing a lot of work, and he be really on this thing. You feel me? So I'm like, yeah, I thought it was a good opportunity to go out there and like I said, I want my name mentioned in some of these rooms, and I don't want it. I don't want you to just say my name. I'm going to show you why I should be mentioned in some of these rooms. So I went out there and I met her. And she went over some of her story about, it was more than just the Gorilla Glue thing. You know what I'm saying? And the movie will be released soon, so I don't want to say too much, but yeah, definitely make sure you want to check it out.
Do you see yourself doing more like acting and like serious acting in the future?
Oh
Like,
yeah, 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 and it doesn't even have to be a funny role. And I'm really starting to figure out myself more, and when it comes to that.
what are some of your like favorite like comedy movies of all time?
I love Half Baked, man. Half Baked was funny as hell, bro. That was like one of the funniest movies. Harlem Nights, Harlem Nights, Life, Don't Be a Menace. I like stupid shit, man. Super bad. You know what I'm saying? Like stupid shit, man. That's comedy to me, man. So and I watch so many movies, man. Some of these movies I don't even know the name of. I just be scrolling and watch a movie like, damn, man, that movie's funny as hell. Won't see it again. Don't. It's tough, but
Do you feel like especially like in the '90s, in the early 2000s, it was like so many comedy classics being made. Do you feel like there are comedy classics being made anymore now, or not really?
I'm really right here trying to think of like a comedy classic that was like recent. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. I don't. I don't think there are many like that being made. I don't.
Why do you feel like it's like that? Like it's been so long that.
I think society has changed in the same way that we were talking about, comedians being raw and unfiltered on stage. That's not as welcome now in today's society as was back then, and I think it's the same thing when it comes to that.
How if you were able to be in like a comedy classic, like say that it came out like in this era, like how impactful do you feel like that would be for you?
I think that would be very impactful, man, because like when you sit back sometimes and look at some of the positions that you've been in, pause. You know what I'm saying? When you look at some of the positions that you've been in, it's like you take a second to realize and understand, like, what, this is what other people are trying to do, but it has never been your dream. So I'm very grateful for any type of situation like that. Anything that I've been able to be a part of. These podcasts. You know what I'm saying? These podcasts, skits, movies, comedy shows, like special events. You know what I'm saying? People want you to come be a VIP guest, and it's just like, damn, like that type of shit is dope.
Who's been like people that have like reacted to your content that you saw and you like, damn, like so and so just reacted to me, or people that you may have met that you was like maybe like, oh shit, I just met so and so, there goes so and so over there, they gave you some advice, anything like that?
Everybody. Everybody. It's a lot of people have talked to me, man, and that's why I feel so blessed. You know what I'm saying? I wish I was bringing in a bunch of money, But at the end of the day, you know, like I said, being able to network and be a part of some of the things that are out here going on. You know, there have been players from the NFL that have liked some of my skits. There have been other, you know, influencers out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because I'm not doing this for any type of clout or anything, I'm literally just working. You feel me? So sometimes I come across people and I don't even know who they are. You know what I'm saying? But with all due respect, it's like, all right, well, you know, I don't not pay attention to people, but it's like, you know, sometimes you be so far or so deep into your zone, you know, trying to get shit together, some things go unnoticed. And I just got to get better with knowing who I'm around and when I'm around these people and this and that. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's not about clout or anything like that. I see things that some people do, and I'm still learning this game because I'm still at the beginning of my comedy career for real, you know. So there are some people that they'll take a screenshot. Oh, this person liked my post. This person liked my post, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm still not used to that type of shit, so I don't do it. Like, it happens all the time, but it's just like, oh, all right, that's what's up. That's dope. Yeah. And then I just leave it at that.
So with all the work that you know you be putting in, whether it be comedy or acting, how do you balance that with your personal life?
It's it's an everyday struggle for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm a father first. I'm a father first, so you know, family is going to be taken care of. You know, but when it comes to, you know, the acting and the skits and that type of stuff, sometimes the the opportunity or the time is just not there. You know, so I really have to prioritize, and that's what it really boils down to, man. Being able to prioritize to do what needs to be taken care of. I know so many comedians that there are always comedy shows going on, and I can't afford going to every comedy show every night of the week. You know what I'm saying? If I'm doing that, then it's getting in the way of me being home with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Or it's taking away from money that I need to do this or do that, and I still got to go to work and do work. You know what I'm saying? It's a constant struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, you give and take. It's a give and take the entire time. So I just try to be a better scheduler, you know what I'm saying? Just, I try to do different shit now, you know what I'm saying? I make sure I use my calendar and planners and all that type of shit, because when things get to going, bro, it's like, damn, man, like next thing you know, it ain't no time.
Is it? Do you feel like it's hard to be in a relationship and do comedy and everything that you do?
Yeah, especially if you have a partner that doesn't understand what you're doing or what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't see the big picture, as especially they don't see your picture. You know what I'm saying? Not as vividly as you see it. You know what I'm saying? You may have an idea, you may have a thought, and this is what you're trying to create. But if this person that you're with doesn't really understand or can't really see it or doesn't see the point behind it, you're always gonna be at odds. You feel me? And I don't want no type of situation like that.
What motivates you to, like, you know, stay going, like especially like when it's like tough days or, you know, hard days, or like especially like early on, like when you know you was growing your fan base, what like motivates you to stay focused?
Being able to make a difference in somebody else's life. And what I mean by that is, like, I've gone through a lot of shit in my life. You feel me? Like losing people, losing jobs, injuring myself, having to leave the military, like house fire. I've been through so much shit. And I know how hard it is to deal with stuff like that. And comedy helped me through it. So to meet complete strangers that are going through situations that may even be worse than a lot of the things that I've gone through, for them to reach out to me and say, hey man, thank you. I needed your page. Like you really helped me. Somebody told me before that I saved their life. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to have that type of impact on a complete stranger's life, like it, it's bigger than words can explain, man. You feel me? So that's what keeps me motivated, because I know how hard life is, man. So if you can help somebody else through their shit, man, that's some good shit.
On the flip side, like how do you feel, or how do you deal with people like negative like comments or feedback? Because I mean, it's obviously gonna happen,
Yeah.
no matter what you do. Like, how do you deal with that?
Most of the time, I ignore that shit. If it's like some race baiting shit, because you have those trolls, I see that shit, I delete it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, just because you have social media doesn't mean I have to let you into my life. Right. You feel me? Like, I get rid of your shit in a second, especially you trying to pull some people in because everybody's not emotionally mature. So you may see somebody say some racist shit and it may make you want to snap. Now you're going back and forth, you have risk of losing your account, this and that, this and that. If I see some shit like that, I just get rid of it. Fuck it. I'm not even about to let you get these people riled up because if you don't know me from anywhere and you're across the country or not even in this country, all you can do is look at my page or something to try to find something that you think is gonna make me mad. I done had people target my kids, say some shit, oh, you're stupid ass kids and this and that, this and that. Not gonna bother me, bro. I'm literally emotionally mature. So you're not going to allow my emotions, you're not gonna create situations where I allow my emotions to lead my actions. You feel me? And that's why being emotionally mature is so important when it comes to doing anything socially because people that try to fuck with you and you can't let them.
What's been the most or the proudest moment you've had in your career so far?
The proudest moment that I've had in my career so far was being on the big screen, man, like in a movie theater. Like that's never some shit I ever imagined. I have a crazy imagination, but I never imagined seeing myself on the big screen. It's a lot of shit I haven't imagined, but that's definitely at the top of the list.
How does your like family, how do they or your family, close friends, how do they like feel about, everything you've done in your career?
I got my family say they proud of me. You know what I'm saying? So every time my family tell me they proud of me, I just think like, damn, I must have really been a fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, damn, proud. I'm just doing me type. But yeah, they're proud of me. And my mother, I'm just her son type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like family keeps me grounded. You feel me? I'll never be big headed. I don't ever plan on being big headed, but family and friends keep me grounded, man. Everybody talk about they proud of me because they know how much of a fuck up I was, bro.
What's your ultimate goal in comedy?
My ultimate goal in comedy, I just want to be able to do comedy as a full-time job, man. Like, that's what I want. So if I can wake up every day and do comedy and not have to worry about, going to go work on somebody else's job or, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool with me. That's cool with me. But I also want to continue to keep impacting people's lives, man. Like, it's being able to smile is like medicine, bro. Like, laughter is medicine.
So what are some of the upcoming plans that you have in 2025, like projects or just, comedy things in general?
Shoot, on May 4th, I have a show at a DC Comedy Loft. That's the next show that I have coming up, and I've been trying to put time aside to work on writing a script, man. I think I'm trying to elevate and take it to a different level and do something different. I believe that skits and everything are cool, but because they have to be so short, I have a lot of ideas that are going to go well beyond like 3 and 5 and 10-minute type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I think I want to get into doing some short films.
If you could offer like any advice to like any up and coming comedians, what would you say to them?
Be disciplined. Be disciplined. Discipline is what separates you from the greatest level that you can ever achieve, man. You have to be disciplined because if you know you need to be putting some work in, go put your work in. You know what I'm saying? Like, sit down and write your stuff out. Go over it. If you know you don't need to be out, don't be out. Go home. Go do it. Like, it's so many different things that discipline will help keep in check. And just having discipline. When I was smoking cigarettes, I woke up in the morning one day and said, I'm done with it. And I had enough discipline to be able to just stop until I drank, but that's something different. But yeah, you got to be disciplined and always be able to find some type of motivation. If you don't have motivation, it's going to be hard to keep moving forward. So you have to find the motivation sometimes. Writers do it all the time. Writers get writer's block, and sometimes they don't finish writing a book for 2-3 years because they lose motivation. But you got to find that shit. So,
Lastly, I want to ask, like, how, when it's all said and done, like, how do you want your comedy career, or just you in general, to be like looked at and remembered?
I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna be remembered. I'm gonna be remembered as somebody that was solid, good dude, loyal, always stand on his word, and that's just me.
All right,
My man.
Jay2Funny. I appreciate you doing this, man. Really means a lot, bro.
Oh, no problem, bro. I appreciate you, man. Like I said, we all working together out here.
Absolutely.